The phone vibrated during prayer. Not loud, just enough to be noticed. I didn't look down right away. I kept my hands folded, head bowed. The pastor's voice rolled gently through the sanctuary, words about forgiveness and trust drifting over 300 quiet bodies. My wife stood beside me. Her fingers brushed mine. Warm, familiar, practiced. The vibration came again. This time I felt it in my chest. I knew better than to check it. I already knew what it would say, or rather, who it would be from. Suspicion has a smell. Once you recognize it, you can't unbreathe it. She squeezed my hand, smiled up at me when I turned. Perfect smile, the one she saved for rooms full of people. My mind split cleanly in two. One half stood in church, husband of 8 years, trusted, stable, invisible. The other half replayed small moments like security footage, muted, grainy, undeniable. Late showers, a new password, her phone face down always. The pastor asked us to rise. As we stood, her phone lit up in her purse. I saw the name reflected faintly in the polished wood of the pew. Just a blur of letters, but my body reacted before my mind did. Heart steady, jaw locked. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. Not broken, cold. I didn't accuse her. That's what surprises people later. They assume rage, tears, shouting in the dark. They imagine slammed doors and broken plates. I did none of that. I watched. I listened. I cataloged. At night, she turned away from me in bed, phone glowing under the covers. In the morning, she kissed my cheek with the same absent tenderness she used on relatives she barely liked. She still said, "I love you." She said it often. That was the tell. Love, when repeated too carefully, becomes a script. I noticed how she mentioned a coworker more than necessary, always casually, always with context, like planting alibis in advance. I noticed how her stories shortened, details trimmed away, conversations that once flowed now arrived pre-edited. I told myself nothing. Denial isn't loud, it's quiet, methodical. I shook hands at church, smiled at neighbors, paid bills, planned holidays she pretended to care about, all while something corroded slowly behind my eyes. One night, I asked her a question I already knew the answer to. "Who's texting you so late?" She didn't hesitate. That hurt more than if she had. "Work," she said. Her voice was calm. So was mine. Truth doesn't require confrontation. It requires patience. I checked the phone records first. Numbers repeated too often, too consistently. I memorized them the way some men memorize scripture. I watched patterns form, lunch breaks that aligned, meetings that ran long together, weekends where she needed space. I followed once, not close, never close. Distance keeps you invisible. I saw her car in a parking lot that had nothing to do with work. I saw him step out, confident, careless, smiling like a man who believes he is unseen. I didn't take pictures. I didn't need souvenirs. At home, I played my role, cooked dinner, asked about her day, laughed at the right moments. She relaxed around me. That was my advantage. People tell the truth when they feel safe. 18 months. That's how long the evidence stretched back once I stopped pretending not to look. A second life woven neatly between dinners and Sundays. I felt anger then, but it was distant, contained, like something sealed behind glass. The final confirmation came quietly. An email she forgot to delete, a reservation, 2 names, 1 room. I waited until she came home, set the laptop on the table between us, said nothing. She looked once, then again. Her breath left her in a rush, like something had struck her from the inside. "I can explain," she whispered. I believed her. She could explain. She just couldn't undo. "How long?" I asked. Silence. I waited. 18 months. There it was. The truth always sounds smaller out loud. She cried, broke down, reached for me. I didn't move. I had already left her long before she noticed. The church was full. She wore white. I stood beside her at the microphone, introduced as her husband, a pillar, a good man, the kind people trust without question. She smiled at me. I stepped forward. My voice didn't shake. She's been having an affair for 18 months. The air changed, a collective inhale. I said his name, just once. No explanation, no embellishment. I watched recognition ripple through the room like a dropped glass. I watched his face collapse, watched hers empty of color, of control, of lies. I didn't look back. I set the microphone down carefully and walked away. People called after, texted, apologized, asked questions they weren't entitled to. I didn't answer. I packed my things that night, left the ring on the counter, left the life she thought she was managing. I felt nothing on the drive out of town. Not relief, not grief, just clarity. Some truths don't heal you, they free you. And once you've been free, you never go back to pretending.